So as everybody knows, I think at this point, Darebin has a really strong connection with climate and climate emergency. Actually, and you can see that in the emissions that we have, they're way below our national averages. But there's still quite a lot to do. Currently, businesses are producing with their energy, like the electricity, almost over 40% of the emissions in Darebin. And if we add gas to that, we get to almost 50%. So we really want to support you guys to transform the way you get your energy. And that's why pretty much we're here, and we have a solar saver department in Darebin. And it's actually not that much what we need. We need about 2 square kilometers for solar to actually offset our emissions, which is pretty much what Monash University holds on land, or from Bell Street to Queen Street, that square over there. So it seems like a lot, but step by step I'm sure we can get there. So the Solar Saver project, which started about 10 years ago, has already delivered 1,900 systems in Darebin with a capacity of over 8 megawatts. So that's almost 25% of the uptake of solar in the region, which is actually pretty great. If you see in the graphic, we see that every time the program has been running, the uptake of solar has improved quite a lot, which is actually super awesome. But there's also other programs available. So we have green loans that you can actually access through council, which are loans that are pretty much involved for sustainable projects. And there's also the solar rebates, which are at the moment are 3,500, so they're pretty good for your upfront cost. And there's some interest-free loans that you can take with them, which are also pretty good, of up to $5,000. But of course, you guys are businesses, so you also need to get a profit, and you also need to make proper savings. So we're going to see a bit of a study case on how solar has impacted businesses. So most of you may know Terra Madre, which is on High Street, a very popular one. So they have installed a solar system through our program back in 2020. It cost $15,000 back in that time, and that was with no rebates or any support from Solar Victoria, because they weren't there for businesses yet. But all in all, it was actually expected to pay back in 5 years, which being a business, as you probably know, that 5 years on investment return is pretty good. And it already paid almost a third of it. So almost $5,000 has been paid off that solar system, which is actually really good. And it also saved to almost 11 tons of emissions, which is actually pretty good considering it's quite a small system. We can see that it saved them in their energy bills up to $450 a month. Considering their energy bills are around $2,000 roughly in that average, that's a pretty good saving in some fixed costs that you may have in your company. There's quite a lot of other savings that you can see in their consumption. For example, this is on October day at 12 p.m., which is noon, of course, the best good time to measure it. If you see around the 11th of October, their consumption went down from over 3 kilowatt hours to less than 1 kilowatt hour. So that's a massive reduction in their consumption. So solar, it's a very strong business case, and it can save you up to 50% of your cost on the energy bills. This compares before solar and after solar. So before solar in May, for example, they were spending over $1.60 a day on energy, not the fixed cost, it's just the consumption cost. So you still have some fixed cost there. But in May, the following year, probably 2 years later, when they had solar, that went down to 80 cents. So it's almost half the cost that they're paying for the consumption, which is pretty good. And if on top of that, we add the rebates that you guys now have available from Solar Victoria, your return of investment go down to even 4 years. So it's actually really good. So what I do recommend you guys to do next is to actually take advantage of those rebates, because they will go down. There's only about 5,000 rebates left on that tariff of 3,500. They'll go down to half of it once they're over. And also take advantage of the STCs. The STCs are the federal incentive for solar or small technology for renewables. And they do go down every year. So the earlier you get it, the more rebates you will get, especially now, considering how unstable the market is. But also, if you do want support from Darebin, just register with us. We do have information. We can support you on how to choose a reliable installer. We're also moving to doing energy efficiency upgrades in the future. So we will be able to support you with that as well and reduce a lot your energy bills and be able to reduce the cost of your company, which is pretty good. So so if you do want to get some more information from us, there's a little bit of a QR code, or we have a little bit of stand there. You can leave your details. We also have a keep cup to blackmail you to get your details. We'll let you know once we have our bulk buy program ready, so you can access our supplier, which has been properly selected, so that it's kind of very reliable. But we can also give you a tip if you want to go on your own and choose your own installer. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. Now we've got questions that can get put. We've got one over here. Would it be right for a number of businesses at the moment, if they took advantage of the state government $3,500 rebate and $5,000 interest-free loan, that they could have solar cash flow positive from day one?
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, it will depend on the size of your system. But if the size of your system is kind of small enough, which will go depending to your available space and your energy needs, you may have even zero upfront costs, which would be pretty much awesome. Or you can have very, very little cost and start paying it back within a year. You will start seeing the benefits from the solar in your invoices. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, please.
As a business, last year I had intentions to install solar on the roof of our business. So I applied to my agent landlord, and I was refused on the basis of they're just not wanting the infrastructure put in, and just simply didn't believe in it. Does Solar Darebin offer any advocacy or legal help in those sort of scenarios? I imagine other businesses might encounter similar sort of restraints when dealing with landlords.
We do know that the hardest point in solar is the landlord-tenant relationship, and that's in every aspect. We do have some letters that you can send your landlord to incentivize them, how their property could go up in value, how the system actually can even be cheap, like the cost of your system pays back if you pretty much sell the property straight away after. So the value that solar can give to your property, it's higher than the cost of the solar system. It will depend in the case. It's not always, of course. So we do have some letters that you can send. Unfortunately, we don't have legal advice. I'm not too sure how you can pressure that legally, because they are the owners of the property. But you can help it to renegotiate your lease and those types of incentives. And we do have some letters that we can give you or try to support you in that way.
What is the eligibility criteria to get this $3,500 rebate and interest-free loan of $5,000?
Yeah, so they actually just extended that criteria. It used to be up to 20 employees. Now you can have up to 50 employees. It needs to be a system, so you need at least one employee, like one full-time employee that is not the owner, and it needs to be a system less than 30 kilowatts.
While Tan's going there, if there's any very large energy users either joining us online or in the room, there's, at the moment, Darebin's participating in a power purchase agreement. It's another way to get renewable energy. Darebin Council led the VCO, which is a power purchase agreement for all councils, and has pretty much got nearly all councils onto 100% green power or renewable energy. And so maybe catch Santiago, myself, or Glenn if you're in the room, or send us an email if you're a large energy user and interested in a power purchase agreement where you can buy renewable energy and not pay a premium for it.
So we all agree that solar is really a good return on investment. What insights or analysis is there on solar battery storage?
Cool. Yeah, great question. So batteries are pretty much borderline yet. They will not always pay back. Sometimes they might pay back, so it will be a case by case. So if a solar system pays between 5 to 7 years in most of the cases, batteries are paying between 8 and 12 years, and the life of a battery it's around 10 years. So it will depend. It will depend a lot on how you use it, but you do have a lot of incentives as well from Solar Victoria, and there are some different business cases with batteries that you can subscribe to, like a battery power plant, when someone else takes over your battery and administrate it so that you get like maximum profitability out of that battery. And actually the incentive from government, it's a bit higher if you go through that. Although I think that's for resi, but the virtual power plants are they're much more developed for businesses than they are for residential at the moment. So there's quite good agreements in there.
I'll just add to that. So we do have some businesses in Darebin that have installed batteries that we know of. I'm sure there's might be others that we don't. So George's in the Room and Enviro Shop is the first business in Darebin that we know of that put in a battery. TechMed is the second, and Charles Sanford and McCain Joinery is about to put in a very large battery. There are some instances where the payback is really good for Charles Sanford and McCain Joinery. It offsets the need of having to have an upgrade of power to their site, which is expensive. So I think it's kind of a case-by-case scenario if it will work for you.